Good morning, everybody. I'm going to give you a little bit of a demonstration. I have a patient here who was gracious enough to let us look at shoes today as it relates to PRI and help to integrate her PRI program. She's been having difficulty for PRI trained therapists of getting neutral in her head, neck, trunk, and pelvis with PRI tests. And so I asked her to get a different pair of shoes to help integrate her physical therapy program. So if you come out here, we're going to have Ashley walk up and down the hallway, and she's in a Brooks Adrenaline, which is a great shoe. It's nothing against the shoe. But as you watch Ashley walk up and down the hallway, you're going to see her, that she's kicking a ball. She's overworking her left hip flexor. Her pelvis is oriented to the right, and you're going to see how her pant zippers always staying over to the right. Her right hip is coming back. You never see the left bottom coming back, or she's coming back on her left side. She's going into more extension with her low back, but she has a strong orientation over the right side, and she's pushing off her fourth and fifth foot as her right foot stays in a more supinated position on the right side. Ashley, go ahead and turn around and come back in here, and we're going to keep the camera rolling, and we're going to go through 3 different pairs of shoes today. And if we come in with the Brooks Adrenaline, and we go through some PRI objective tests. Ashley, we're going to have you laid down here on the table. And I'm just going to show you some objective tests with what I only look at what they're doing when they're walking, but also going through some PRI tests. And remember, this looks at the spine and the rib cage movement. Her right arm doesn't come down. If we come over here on the left side, her left side is also going to be come down here. It stops right here about 80-85 degrees. If we come up here and look at her neck can side bend to the left and to the right. But if we come over here and look at cervical rotation, here's her neck to the right. Her neck stops here to the left. I'm not going to go through all the tests just for the sake of time, but if I have Ashley roll over for me on her right side, and we're going to do a Hruska adduction drop test. We're going to keep her pelvis stacked. If we come back over here, her left leg will not come down. And if she rolls over for me on her, if you put your head up here just so they can see you in the video, Ashley, and roll over for me on your left side and face mat. And we take up her right leg and we do a passive abduction raise test. This is the stopping point on her right side. So for a PRI trained therapist, we do not have her pelvis being able to alternate back and forth. Her pelvis is stuck forward on the left side and back on the right. And it's having a domino effect with her trunk and her head and neck. So we're going to have Ashley take off the Adrenalines, and we're going to put on a New Balance 840 shoe. And none of these shoes, you guys, are bad shoes. But when people come in and they're not able to alternate back and forth through their pelvis, they're not working through an entire movement strategy that we need when we walk or when we run. In Ashley's situation, she's going middle, right, middle, right. She's never going right, middle, left, middle, because her pelvis is a reflection, her feet are a reflection of her pelvis position. And so we need to have a pair of shoes at the beginning of her program to allow her body neurologically to learn how to stand and shift on her left side with her feet doing the right mechanics. Her right foot has a strong reference center, staying in more of a supinated position through the entire gait cycle. And that's a good thing at heel strike, but not during mid-stance and push-off phases of gait, where we want the foot to be able to repronate correctly during the gait cycle. If you look at the Brooks Adrenaline, you will see how they cushion the outside of the foot, and it squishes down here on the outside and it's built up here, so it helps her foot to be more in a supinated position during the gait cycle. But all the other criteria that we look on, it has a solid heel counter, it bends at the toe, is excellent for PRI activity. It's just the asymmetrical heel counter that's holding us up in her situation. So now we're in a New Balance 840, and we're going to have Ashley walk up and down the hallway here. And as she starts to walk up and down the hallway, you can start to see how she's starting to translate and be able to pull her left hip back on the left side. but you can still see with her right foot, she's still having a hard time repronating during mid-stance phase of gait on that right side to allow her to push over to the left side. So she's in a little bit better position, I'm going to hypothesize at this point in time, with walking compared to the Brooks Adrenaline, but we're still not there yet. So we're going to have Ashley come in here. We're going to look at some PRI objective tests. We're going to have her lay down here for me on her back. And again, for the sake of time, I'm going to retest the same ones that I just did for you guys with the adrenalines. We're going to look at the left arm, and the left arm comes down. We're going to come over here to the right arm. And with their PRI test here with her right arm, it goes down. It's better, it's improved, but it's still not negative. If we come up here and look at her neck, and we look at cervical rotation, here's her neck to the right, and her neck to the left is better, but it's still not doing the same thing it's doing on the right side. If we have Ashley roll over for me on her right side, use your right hand for a pillow. We're going to pick up her left leg. I'm going to keep her pelvis stacked. I'm going to bring this left leg, and we're going to come back. And this left leg does go down better. This would be a negative adduction drop test. We're going to have her roll over for me on her left side and face straight ahead. And we're going to pick up this right leg. We're going to keep this pelvis stacked. And this is, her right leg comes up higher, but this is all the higher it comes. This is still a positive test. So we have some improvement with some PRI tests, but we're still not all the way there. We're going to go ahead and have her put back on the adrenaline, so we're still looking at her body and her foot at the same position that we looked at the New Balance 840s. These are her preferred shoe to work in and to run in. And here again with the New Balance 840 that's on the shoe list is still bends at the toe. The heel still doesn't collapse in, but you're going to still see how it's built up more immediately on the inside of the shoe compared to that of the outside of the shoe. So this shoe for her right foot is still referencing her to be more in a supinated position. So in Ashley's situation, she's heel striking, laying on the outside of her foot, but she's spinning off and turning her right foot out versus being able to heel strike here, roll this in, or going to adduction or repronation of the right foot and then pushing off that big toe versus going in a more transverse plane. So we need more of a frontal plane foot with that right foot. So we're going to have Ashley here again, walk up and down the hallway here with the adrenaline. And it doesn't take long, and you're going to see how that left hip starts to come forward, the right hip is coming back, and she's going to be right back in that original pattern that she was in when we first started this video. Her pant zipper's over the right, she's kicking a ball with that left foot, working that left hip flexor. Ashley, you can already come back in, and we're going to show them you're still the same person as when we started this video. And we're keeping the camera rolling just so you know we're doing no PRI intervention at this point in time. But as Ashley's doing her PRI program, she's not able to maintain neutrality. So this right arm doesn't come down. The left arm will still go down. Her neck is going to the right. We'll come over here, it locks up to the left. Roll over for me on your right side, Ashley. Keep your right arm up underneath your head. We'll pick up this left leg. The left leg won't come down. And we'll roll over back for me on our left side. And we're going to straighten out her right leg. We're going to come up here and she stops here. If we're doing our PRI test correctly and not letting her side bend her trunk. So now we're going to have her put on a pair of New Balance shoes. And this will be the last thing that we'll do. So with the New Balance shoe, you guys, this bends at the toe. The heel counter doesn't collapse in, but it provides a lot of midfoot guidance. So it doesn't allow the midfoot to over supinate or over pronate. We get more guidance here, but not as much control as an orthotic. And that's what I love about this shoe, is the guidance that it provides through the midfoot, which I feel that she needs, because she's getting no midfoot guidance in the adrenaline. The other thing is that it allows for more of a balanced heel counter. It's a little bit built up here, but it's not a lot, and it's more symmetrical. So it allows her brain to re-reference her right foot and work it differently. So let her put on her right shoe here. And then we'll have her walk up and down the hallway. So with Ashley, just for PRI trained therapists, we're going through a PRI program and she can reposition. But the minute she gets up and walks up and down the hallway, she's unable to maintain it. And so after 2 sessions, we knew that we needed to do something a little bit differently. And you can already start to see it as she walks. Oh, look at that. Halfway down the hallway, her left hip is coming back. She's pulling that left hip back into extension. And we're going to go up and down the hallway here again. So left leg goes back, the right leg comes forward. She's able to pull that left hip and that right hip forward and back. And if you look at her right foot, you can look how she's able to find the inside of her right foot, and she's not spinning out on her right foot like she is with the adrenaline. So her foot mechanics are being better directed because she has better pelvis and hip mechanics of her feet. Ashley, go ahead and turn around and come back.
That might be a little early with my friend and kids.
And we'll go through her PRI test. And if Ashley lays down here, we'll look at her cervical rotation. Here's her neck going to the right. Here's her neck going to the left. So we have full motion going both directions. If we come over here with her right arm can come down as close to being there. There could be some soft tissue restriction, but her right shoulder's still down, so a lot improved. We call that a negative test. The left side will come down. She'll roll over for me on her right side, put her right arm up underneath her head. We'll pick up her left leg. We're going to keep her pelvis stacked. Come back here. The adduction drop test is negative. We'll have Ashley roll over for me on her left side. We'll pick up her right leg, straighten out this right knee. And I'm still keeping this pelvis, and then look how much higher her right leg can come. So she has better side-to-side movement as needed to move forward, with the ability to find the inside of her foot to allow her left side of her foot supinate to help her to translate and get her weight back on her left leg. So we're going to look at these as training shoes to do with their PRI program to help her to be able to better integrate, and then over time, as she learns how to get into a left stance phase of gait, she'll have better control of her pelvis, which will help her with her feet. Thanks.